Hello Facebook and welcome to Nocturnal Wildlife Walk. I am Ranger Jan for the National Park and I'm here with Kim, who is a local ecologist and also from Sussex Bat Group. So I'm going to do the awkward spinning you around, which never works first time. There we go. So hi Kim.
Hello. Evening.
That's the lovely Kim, resplendent in pink as
raspberry.
Raspberry, sorry. So yeah, today we're near Bo Peep and we're out in the countryside. Obviously we're going to take a walk round, see what we can see. February's not the best time to go wildlife spotting, but obviously it's dark skies, so we thought we'd tie it in anyway, and we might see stuff, we might hear stuff, and if we do, we'll let you know what it is. Kim has got a bat detector with her, so hopefully we might see some bats, but while it's light we thought we'd show you some animal signs that we've found.
So here is a nice little track, and some digging actually, if you have a look, and it looks like it probably is badger digging because they love worms, and badgers are mostly active at night, but they can be active in the day as well.
It looks like a little run through, doesn't it,
yeah,
for badgers?
and then so it looks like there's a hole and things.
So these are little signs that you can look out for. If you're out during the day, you can sort of spot this sort of thing, can't you? And then come back at dusk and see if you can see the animals active.
Yeah, it gives you a clue to what's around in the day, and then obviously, if they're night creatures, come back and have a look and hopefully spot the creature.
Which, we can't guarantee, obviously, but we will do our best.
So at the moment a lot of things are in hibernation because it's still quite chilly. A lot of our bat species, well, all of our bat species go into hibernation or torpor, which is a sort of less deep hibernation, and that is to reserve their energy while there's no food around, because all of our 17 breeding bat species found in this country.
Wow, 17, that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, they're insectivorous, so they eat insects. So at the moment you can see around there's not really any insects flying. So instead of them sort of starving to death, they shut down their body temperature, go into a deep sleep in like underground sites and tunnels, and then they come out usually when the weather starts picking up again. Like, it's starting to feel a bit springy, isn't it? So
there's definitely signs of spring, aren't there? And it's not as cold as it has been. Hopefully that's the worst of it over, although they're saying there's going to be a frost maybe at the weekend
in March. They did say that. But pipistrelles, our most common species, they do a little bit different. They go into this torpor, and they do occasionally opportunistically come out and feed during the winter. If there's like a warmer weather and you do get a bit of a flurry of insects on the wing, then you can see them. So I saw a pipistrelle about 3 weeks ago. Just flying around at dusk.
So we might be lucky.
You never know.
But they're the ones people will see around their houses as well, aren't they? Around in urban situations.
So they're more light tolerant, and they because a lot of our bat species, especially the woodland specialists and the myotis, which are the mouse-ears, they're really light sensitive.
Again, a mouse-eared?
Mouse-eared. They're really light sensitive, and so if you light their roost, then they're likely to abandon the roost. And also, they're such a complex species because obviously they use the landscape. They use commuting routes and foraging routes like hedge lines and pasture. So if you light anywhere like that, then obviously you're having a big impact on these ones. That
they really need the corridors, don't they? In places like this where you've got nice old hedgerows and it's dark, is exactly what they want. So they do struggle in urban situations, which is why dark skies are so important, and the fact that we're a dark skies reserve.
Yeah, definitely. And so the woodland specialists do this thing called gleaning, where they can actually pick off insects from leaves. So like spiders off spider webs, and they're the ones with usually the bigger ears, because obviously they can listen. They've got better hearing.
So Numa's asking, why does it sometimes seem like bats are flying at you?
Right, this is a good one. So basically when you're because we're hot-blooded animals, we get this like heat column above our heads, and if you look up, normally there are loads of insects around. And so the bats are, again, making an opportunity of all these insects this cluster of insects above your head, and they're coming and feeding on them. And there's that old wives' tale, isn't there, about bats going into your hair
and getting stuck
and
in your hair.
Yeah, once in a blue moon, I think maybe a juvenile who's not that okay at flying probably has gone into the hair, and then it's just...
But it's very rare, isn't it? Because they're amazing flyers, aren't they? If you think they're flying around in the dark and they're using their sonar, they know what they're doing.
Totally.
If they can pick a tiny moth out of the sky, they're probably not going to hit you in the head.
No, I think they're pretty adept at flying, and
Cool. So thanks, Numa. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a really nice, quite a sheltered corridor. So, and because of all the vegetation, you know, when the insects are out and about, I reckon this is going to be
it's a good feeding zone.
Yeah, a good bat highway. I'll put the detector on.
So the bat detectors, can people buy bat detectors?
Yeah, they're getting more and more cost efficient. So this one is the posh one, and that one you can plug into your phone, and that costs about, I think it's about 200 quid. I think they're coming down slightly in price, whereas this is a lot more affordable. This is like about 50 quid.
Okay, that's doable.
These are the old school ones. This one is this is the sort of newer technology, so it can auto identify, so it can tell you a bit more. But this one, you know, this is good to hone your skills, because different bats echolocate at different frequencies, and so if you want to get really good at your bat calls, then start with this. I started with this, and you become you get
an ear for
an ear in, exactly. And because obviously there's subtle different sort of rhythms and pitches, so if you do have one of these old school ones, you do learn a bit better.
Encourages you to actually put the effort in to find out what it is, doesn't it? If it's too easy.
Exactly, if things are too easy.
Yeah. Well, you can get apps for your phone now, can't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's so clever. You can get all these bird apps as well, can't you? Yeah, so it's looking lovely, isn't it? Like across, you can just see how quite it
quietens down. The sun's just starting to go down.
And a really lovely pinky colour. Yeah, let's carry on. Hoping. So with these bat detectors, you usually set them about 45, because all of the bat species tend to come through the 45 kilohertz.
Okay.
And then it's a matter of listening to where it's loudest, and if a bat is circling you, you can scroll up and down and try and listen to which frequency it's loudest on, and that's an indication of which species it is.
Okay.
So our common pipistrelle we call the 45 pip, because that's its loudest frequency. The soprano pipistrelle, what do you think?
Higher.
So that's at 55. So when you go to 55 and it's louder at 55, then that's So those are the two common ones that you're most likely to see. We also have big bats, the 3 big bat species. They're quite cool. They're so the big bats and pipistrelles are the early emergers, because they're quicker flyers.
Yeah.
And the mouse-eared and the long-eared and the greater horseshoes, they're the later
because they're a bit
emergers.
smaller.
They're just slower flyers, and they're sort of the woodland flutterers, so they're sort of more, I suppose, if you're thinking about predation, but owls
vulnerable.
can easily predate on them, so they want it darker, whereas the quicker flyers can come out and it's a bit lighter and sort of evade.
We've got some more questions for you.
Oh.
What can we do to encourage bats around our house?
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant question. So bats need insects. That's their main food source. So anything that encourages insects, like a pond, is brilliant.
Yeah, pond's good for most things.
Also nice sort of rough planting and rough grassland and herbs. And
planting for moths is good, isn't it? So that if you're attracting their prey.
Exactly, yeah. So night pollinating species, and honeysuckle, that's really good.
Anything that smells good at night will attract moths, and moths will then attract your bats.
It's all about your vegetation and having that sort of mosaic.
What about bat boxes? Would you recommend people put bat boxes up?
Bat boxes are a really good idea if they're in the right location. They need to be warm and sunny, but then you also need the food and the connectivity.
Yeah, the habitat's got to be there, hasn't it?
Yeah. So if you've got a nice tree, then you can put it up on a tree, but make sure it's sort of has that sort of corridor that the bats can come out and then fly along without getting too out in the open.
So what weather conditions do bats prefer? Is another question.
Yeah, so they don't really like rain or wind because, again, you've got to think when the insects are out, and so the insects don't really do well when it's wet or windy. Yeah, so if it's really bad weather, you know, obviously bats can't feed for a while and get really hungry.
Yeah,
but if you have like quite sheltered areas, and obviously like this is why bats are a landscape species, because they use different areas of the landscape at different times. For example, say if it's really cold and wet, then they might go to like a more sheltered sort of woodland edge, or in a woodland, or so they use different areas at different times. And that's why fragmentation can be a real big issue for bats, because obviously if they're coming out the roost and all of a sudden their habitat's gone or their commuting corridor's gone, then
it's disastrous, isn't it?
It's really disastrous.
Well, that's one of the main problems for bats, isn't it? Is habitat loss.
Yeah, habitat loss. And
so all those hedgerows that got pulled out in the post-war, I guess that was probably the start of it. But I mean, looking around us now, habitat's looking pretty good.
Connectivity, so if you look up and along, there's a nice sort of bank of woods and trees, isn't there? So that's quite connected. And look at the sky. It's all gone.
It's very orangey pink. I'm not sure if you guys can see that on the screen. It looks a bit paler on my screen. But yeah, it's nice.
It's just lovely to be out. And actually, you know, so one of my friends was telling me how his son was asking him to go out. I think it was a few weeks ago. And the guy my friend was like, oh, we won't see bats. And what did they see? They saw a bat. So you just never can tell.
Yeah, you just never know. And a lot of people don't walk at night. They're a bit worried about walking at night. But actually, you know, hey, bring a torch. It's amazing. It's like a whole different place, isn't it? World. That's the word I was looking for.
It becomes
Where
really
are you
peaceful.
approximately? So we're near Bo Peep. Bo Peep's just up to our right.
And All Systems just down.
All Systems behind us.
Yeah. In the deepest, darkest downs.
So it's very easy to get here. You can drive up to Bo Peep car park there and go for a nice walk along the coach road. There's lots of footpaths in the South Downs Way, obviously.
And there's nice cycling routes along the old coach road, and it's really accessible for walking and cycling. And
so come and have an explore.
Yeah, it's lovely. Really nice. Right, I'm really hoping that we will see an owl or hear an owl or see a bat or hear a bat. But like Jan said, it is sort of...
It's like that live TV thing, don't work with children and animals. We might not work with animals, we might not find any, but we'll definitely shut up as soon as we hear or see anything.
Yeah, so this is it feels sheltered already, doesn't it? As soon as you come in.
The wind has dropped, hasn't it? Because it's a bit more exposed out there.
And this is really nice old little corridor, because you can start to see some of the old ferns and some lords and ladies. So it's good for insects. And there's loads of moss and loads of...
lots of cover, lots of ivy.
Lots of ivy. Which bats like. Really good, isn't it? And privet, lots of privet. Yeah, so what would we expect to see if it's more...
If it wasn't cold in February?
Yeah, we'd expect to hopefully see and hear some owls and badgers and bats.
So maybe talking about the different owl calls, so the Tawny Owls and the barn owls. Most people would probably, when they think of an owl, would probably think of a Tawny Owl, wouldn't they?
Yeah, with the well-known twit-woo!
And that's actually two owls. That's a male and female calling to each other.
Yeah,
not just one owl.
They pair for life, don't they?
Yeah, which is nice.
Which is lovely, yeah. They think they pair for life. And they call to each other. So one's a territory. Like, normally the male does the territory call.
Yeah.
And then the female does like a contact call reply.
Like a reassurance, isn't it? That I'm here.
I'm here, I'm here. Just to make sure that, you know, other males and other pairs know that that's their territory and their feeding ground. And then, your barn owls, they're more... You tend to see them in the more open areas. They hunt along the edges of hedgerows and...
do their quartering.
Yeah.
And they're lovely bright white. If you see them, some people see them as they're driving along
you definitely can understand why.
And they used to think they were ghosts.
I can,
It's so cool. Yeah, you can totally feel it.
So ghostly and so silent.
So yeah, we might hear owls. We might hear foxes.
Oh yeah, now is the time. Screaming foxes, which is always lovely.
Yeah, it's people have phoned the police, haven't they? Thinking that there's a murder going on from the noise from foxes. They're so loud and screechy.
Yeah. Almost, yeah, it does sound like a baby, doesn't it? A little bit baby-like. So in the last April, there was, at the end of April, there was a meteor shower, and we were sat out on our sun loungers out in the garden, and we heard a nightingale, and honestly, it blew us away. It was one of the best
Wow.
things. It's so rare, and obviously the nightingale
really
sings at night, nightingaling at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so lovely. It made our year. It was really great. So yeah, so if you're out at night, there's all manner of things that you might hear that you didn't know were in your area, or you might see. So this is really nice. These are all the bluebells starting to come up. And these are really good, again, for giving early nectar sources for bumblebees. And obviously, if you get insects, then...
Yeah, it's getting that ecosystem right, isn't it? So
Yeah.
as long as you've got insects, then you're going to have the predator as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like attracting them to your garden. If you plant the right species, you'll get all sorts of insects, and then you'll get all sorts of bats, hopefully.
And grasses. Grasses are always the underdog and always overlooked.
Yeah.
They're really important because some moth species have really complex life cycle. Well, they have complex life cycles. So they obviously have the caterpillar, the larval, the caterpillar stage.
Yeah.
And then the adult stage of the moth or the butterfly. And the food plant for the larval stage or the egg stage and the adult stage are all different. And a lot of the larval stage rely on grasses, like our common grasses, when they're in flower. So
Yeah.
it's quite nice to actually let some of your grass grow long and flower. So
They
maybe
like
the
it
edges.
They have it as cover as well, of course, don't they? When
Yeah.
they're flying, they
Yeah, they do.
go down into the long grass when it's a bit rubbish weather.
Yeah, exactly. And so obviously with the moths, some of the bats really love moths. So like the long-eareds love a moth.
What's the favourite?
It's the
Do they have a favourite?
orange underwing
Oh, yeah.
or yellow underwing.
So quite a big, crunchy moth.
Oh yeah. So you tend to see
Not that I've eaten one, folks. I'm just guessing. Just realised.
you tend to see like a feeding station from a long-eared, like they leave the little wings.
All
underneath.
the wing cases.
Yeah.
And stuff. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's lovely.
Right. Let's keep
Right.
going.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, so the elder's coming into leaf, and that's quite a nice stinky plant.
Some steering. How big are the big bats you mentioned earlier?
Ooh, so
So what can we go for? Like a
what should we say?
small, like a
so-
rat sort of size?
Smaller than a rat, between sort of maybe like a sort of the size of my hand. Because so what happens a lot of the time as well is because bats, they're actually quite small when they have their wings tucked in. A lot of the sort of the width of the bat is when it's
Its
in flight
wings.
with its wingspan open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the body size then
is quite
is quite small.
So I mean, like a pipistrelle, I think is about 7 grams.
Okay.
The body, the weight wise, a healthy pipistrelle. I think the bigger bats, what about a few more grams on that, 10 grams maybe.
Okay. So they're pretty small, Numa. Pretty small.
Yeah, they are small. And so we get calls sometimes when people find grounded bats. There's a really good Sussex Bat Hospital in Hurstpay Point run by Amanda Miller, and she nurses like injured bats back to health, and she has a bat zebo where she can fly around. So if they've hurt their wing, then they can start flying
a little
again.
practice flight.
A little practice before release. And so she helps look after them. But we often get the calls, and people think that they're a baby bat because obviously they're
so
all tucked
small.
up. Yeah, but normally they are adults. The baby bats. So our bat species have one pup.
Something flew past me then.
Oh, did it?
Like what? Sorry, I got excited.
Oh, I think
blackbird. Maybe.
Is it a blackbird? Or
Yeah, I can hear a blackbird.
Yeah. So
And there's a robin as well.
So our female bats, they go to, again, like roost sites are quite interesting as well because they use different roosts at different times, and so the females they make these maternity colonies, usually from around the end of May, June, and they have one pup.
Okay.
And this one pup then they obviously feed it milk. They're mammals, so they feed them milk from their mammary gland, and they obviously nurse them, and then they tend to be able to fly by the end of sort of August time.
All right.
And then obviously they teach them how to feed up.
So very attentive parents then.
Well, the male's not around, is he?
Okay, parent.
I think some bats teach them and some bats don't, but some of them are left on their own and stuff. But yeah, they're showing that, they can be.
So Mike says, I live in a flat and have the usual bird feeders. Anything I can introduce for variety?
Ooh, what about some nice herbs?
That is a nice sunset.
Yeah, herb. What they
like
call?
a little herb garden.
Yeah, a little herb garden.
You can get those sort of planters, can't you, that hang on a balcony?
Yeah, planters are good.
You could plant some groovy things in that.
Yeah,
some night scented stock.
Night scented, yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing. Emily's saying what a beautiful sunset. It is, it's actually really lovely. I don't know if it's doing it justice on the screen, but it's really orangey pink. And the birds are still tweeting away, saying good night. Shepherd's warning, yeah. But what does that mean?
What does that mean? I think doesn't that mean normally it's not going to be such a nice day the next day?
Is it rain coming, frost coming?
Yeah, maybe. Inclement weather.
Inclement, that's a good word.
Yeah, look, there's definite little...
There's another animal track.
Mammal paths.
Mm.
And we definitely know that there are badgers around.
So we've chosen this spot because we've had barn owls seen here and badgers are here and tawny owls. So we did try and find you a place where we might see something.
Yeah.
We did put some thought into where we are.
Definite thought. Yeah, there's a lovely old ash trees that, there could be an owl sat in there right now looking at us.
Someone's put red sky night, shepherd's delight. Thank you, John, yeah.
Oh, yeah, shepherd's morning. Shepherd's morning's in the
red
morning.
Sky in the morning. I mean, we can't even rhyme.
We can't even rhyme. It's in the morning.
Thank you, John. We knew what we meant. I say we. Kim said it. I deny everything.
I did say, yeah. You agreed, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, another little mammal path here on the rocky scree. Very chalky. And there's some birds flying around. So the birds start to go to roost. You can start to see... at the moment, the starlings are still doing their murmurations. But that's a sign of winter. We saw one the other day in the fields.
No bats on the bat detector yet?
No bats on the bat detector. Fingers crossed. And, all the corvids, like the jackdaws and the crows, they start to go to their...
Yeah.
And the rooks.
Their nighttime roosts.
So you might see some of that.
And the robin pretty much sings 24 hours a day, doesn't it?
Yeah. And actually, especially in the poor blackbirds and robins, especially in sort of light polluted areas, they waste a lot of energy singing.
So if you're walking home from the pub at sort of 3 o'clock in the morning and you can hear a bird singing, it's going to be either a robin or a blackbird generally. They really struggle with knowing what time of day it is in urban situations because it's so light in the city centre.
And they are the species that can opportunistically live alongside us a bit more readily, can't they, in gardens. And
we can hear Mr. Robin, but I can't focus in on him, I'm afraid.
Oh, it's lovely. And look, the lovely old ferns.
What should I do if I find an injured bat? Asks Nima.
Oh, right. Well, we have the Bat Hospital. So if you look on the Bat Conservation Trust, you can look online and they'll tell you if there's a rescuer or a bat hospital near you.
Yeah.
Also, Sussex Bat Group if you're in the Sussex area. But most counties have bat groups. And if you look online, they'll direct you to local people who can come out and help and rescue. But like I said, we've got really good bat hospitals. We've got one in Hurstpier Point by Amanda, and we've got one in Stenning by Sheila and David. But
you sent us some footage of the bat hospital, didn't you? Which our comms team might be able to put up on Facebook for you.
Yeah.
Do bats hibernate?
They do. They hibernate from usually about when the weather starts getting bad and cold and the insects disappear. So that's, usually from sort of November, end of October, November time. Depends on obviously the weather system. And then they come out of hibernation usually around sort of March, April, when it starts warming up and there's insects around. So it's all dictated by the weather, the vegetation and the insects.
Cool.
Yeah. And different bat species hibernate in different locations. So some of our bats go down, deep down into tunnels and caves and crevices. And pipistrelles, actually, funny enough, they're a bit more... They like to be a bit more out in the open, so they tuck up sometimes under hanging tiles or under roof tiles, so they can then monitor the weather and can wake up.
So they can nip out.
Yeah, nip out for a quick feed as
it warms up.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they're such a mysterious species. We're still learning so much more about them because, like with the common pipistrelles, we never find that many in our hibernation counts. But I think not too long ago there was a big hibernation roost found in an old manor house, and they're crevice dwellers. So they were just stuffed up quite near, near, so that the weather, they could feel the weather, which is obviously what we don't think they do, because some of the other bat species go really deep down, so that they wouldn't know. Consistent temperature, and they don't dry out or pretty amazing.
Yeah, they're clever, aren't they?
Yeah, and actually this year we've had a few migrants come over. So being on the coast in Sussex, we get some that just fly over. So we had a Cool's pipistrelle that we found randomly. That went to Amanda.
Where's that from?
That's from the continent. And we had a Jeffroy's bat as well from the continent. We don't know how they got here. Maybe they got blown over in the wind, or maybe they came over.
Do they come over in a storm by accident?
Yeah, or on boats, maybe sometimes in cargo or whatever. Yeah, so that was quite exciting.
Nigel's asking where we are. We're near Bo Peep. So sort of Firle, Bo Peep area. Alciston's behind us. We're walking away from Alciston currently. Lucy, are there any other small mammals found locally without wings?
Yes.
Yeah, loads.
We've got lots of small mammals like field voles, bank voles, mice, field mice.
Or owl food.
Yeah, lots of pure owl food. Yeah, you've got wood mice, yellowneck mice, house mice,
shrews,
rats, shrews,
all sorts, Lucy,
all sorts, yes. Yeah, so it's not just about flying, it's also about on the ground.
Caroline's asking, are you able to say anything about the link between pesticide use and bat population? So that's a big one. So obviously pesticide affects the insect population.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so all our bat species are really highly protected, and the reason why they're protected is because their numbers have declined majorly, and that's, to do with habitat loss, but also to do with food resource. Yeah. So obviously if the pesticides are killing off the insects, then there's not enough food for our bats as well.
So have they found traces of pesticides in bats?
Oh, I don't know if they've actually looked.
So no, they found rodenticide in owls, haven't they?
And
so you can prove that if there's something in the food chain lower down that's poisonous, it's going to creep up. If they're eating enough of that food source, then potentially it affects them. Yeah,
exactly.
But pesticide use is a big thing.
It's a very big thing, and because so some of the highly protected bats, some of our species are protected under a slightly higher protection, and they're the ones who are more. So they feed on like maybe the beetles and the feed in the areas where the pesticides are used, and then obviously that hasn't helped their numbers. So they've declined more, but anything that sort of affects the food chain, and because all our bat species are insectivorous, and they really do suffer when there's no food around, just like anyone.
Are all our bat species in decline?
I think.
Are there any doing well?
Common pipistrelles are all right. I think they're sort of leveling,
plateaued,
doing all right, because our pipistrelles are better at living alongside in humans and in urban situations, and they've
adapted.
They can live in buildings, and they actually can feed around light sources. So, obviously insects get attracted to light sources. They can like have a little feast out. But the long-term issue is obviously if all the insects are going to the light source, then they're not doing the things that they need to do to breed. So
Yeah, they're not behaving naturally.
So you might have a short-term feast and then a long-term famine.
Yeah.
Because they're not obviously multiplying or...
Some good questions.
Yeah, really good questions. I like it. What other species are nocturnal that we've seen?
There's a surprising amount, aren't there, of our wildlife that is actually nocturnal, and some of the things that you see during the day, you just sort of happen to see them. They're mainly nocturnal, like foxes. So
there's Crispicula, isn't there, where they're just...
Crepuscular.
Yes, exactly. What did I say?
Crispicular.
So with bats as well, they have a bit of an active frenzy at dusk and dawn.
Yeah, dusk and dawn are really good times, aren't they?
Because that coincides with the time that the insects come out and have a bit of a frenzy.
Like,
yeah, so that.
So yeah, later on in the year, if you went out for a walk at night, you'd probably see a bit more, wouldn't you? Because things are still sort of hibernating and a bit.
Yeah. And you
quiet.
do hear weird noises. So we heard a lapwing as well.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have known that was a lapwing.
Yeah, so the lapwing at night, it flummoxed me and Pete for a little while. It sounded like electronic noise.
Yeah.
So we were sort of, is there someone playing on a massive Game Boy or something? But yeah, no, it was a lapwing calling. It's nice. Yeah, so there's always surprise and always things to learn.
Oh.
That was a tawny.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It sounds like it's all the way over there. But we can hear a tawny.
A tawny owl calling. It's not going to do it.
Yeah, look, we could be quiet. Well, hopefully we're heading towards it.
We hope so. So we're going to come up to...
Hey, they could hear it on the...
Oh, could you hear it?
Yay, brilliant.
Ah. That means it's probably really loud. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, if you could hear the owl, that must mean that me and Kim are deafening you. So we'll try and be a bit quieter. Look at that view.
Isn't it beautiful? And you can see like all the lovely chalk grass in there. There are lots of orchids that come up and really specialist chalk grassland species. And the ponies over there are like doing a really good job, aren't they, of grazing?
They're amazing conservation grazers. So they're chomping on the tall grass, which is a big problem for chalk grassland because it's so dominant and it's really thick. And it drowns off suffocates all the other species, all the delicate wildflowers and stuff. So the ponies are there to eat the tall grass because cows don't eat it and sheep don't really eat it. It's too coarse.
Yeah.
So thank you, Exmoors. Keep up the good work.
We'll go and have a closer look.
Because chalk grassland's amazing, isn't it, for species? It's really diverse. It's as diverse as the rainforest. We do have Exmoors over there, Catherine, yes. And no, you can't have them.
Did you ask if you can have them? Yeah, so the chalk grassland's really good for, again, like quite specialist species of flora. So all the low growing, because it doesn't have a lot of soil, so it has to it's quite small, low growing. It's really low
fertility, isn't it?
Low fertility, yeah. So specialists.
Great sort of butterflies,
yeah,
walk-lighter crickets.
Yeah, you get Adonis blues up here. It's delightful. So that's obviously their day things, but
yeah. But if it's good during the day, then you can figure that it's going to be good at night too, hopefully.
Yeah, I think the two go together well, don't they?
The habitat's there.
Yeah. Productivity.
Sorry, my steering's gone. There we go.
So we'll go a bit further up and pop out, won't we?
What?
No bats, unfortunately.
Numa's asking, what impact do pheasants have on the native species?
Do you know what we just heard? Did you hear the pheasant calling? Yeah, so the pheasants, Pheasants get released in really crazy numbers. I think they estimate about 50 million to 60 million per year. They're released, and they're obviously a non-native, and in those numbers they eat everything. So I think Natural England did a study where they surveyed the insect life in a woodland before the pheasants were released, and it was really productive. There were loads of different insect species, and then immediately after, loads of pheasants have been released, and it was pretty much dead. It was all gone. Yeah, so they're really voracious eaters, like a bit like chickens.
And they eat a surprising amount of species as well, don't they? They like a reptile.
They love a reptile. So they're alike in our adder declines, obviously for habitat loss, but then also pheasants are in the same sort of woodland edges and sort of scrubby grass, and so our adders...
So Numa, we do think that they have an impact.
Yeah.
Anything really that's not native is going to have an impact, but pheasants, just sheer numbers of them.
Sheer numbers, and in the habitats that they're in, the woodlands, and so definitely that's something that we need to re-look at, I think. And I think so Natural England, I think, are starting to license pheasant releases, but I think we need to probably do a bit more. But it's big business, unfortunately, isn't it? It is big business, and you understand that people obviously have to
it's similar to like safaris in Africa and stuff. You need to get the business working in a different way potentially, and we can't just ask farmers to stop earning money. It's a rural business, so you have to have that balance, don't you? And
it needs to be more considered, doesn't it? And maybe less numbers, or maybe more habitat, and some areas that are pheasant free.
Some mitigation.
Yeah, the pheasants roam as well, don't they?
Yeah,
they roam everywhere, so it's sort of, the impact is across the board. I mean, and they are lovely, lovely birds. They're very pretty.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
But they just obviously, anything that becomes sort of a monoculture or too predominant, then has an impact. And also, actually, pheasants are one of the reasons why the fox populations go up as well, because
of the amount of
food, about prey. So our foxes then get skewed, the numbers get skewed, and then they become what people deem as a pest population. But then actually it's because
they're just responding to what's available.
To food, predator prey.
See, nature knows what it's doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to go
over the style. So we're going over a style, so if I drop you, I apologise. I'll do my best one-armed climbing. Here we go.
You can hear the blackbirds kicking off. Getting ready to go to bed.
Oh, there's the owls again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and the pheasants.
It's all kicking off now. It is just sort of getting dark, I suppose.
Definitely.
The light's proper fading.
Yeah. So if we pop out here, we'll just be on a bit of a short grassland. I'll just use it to scramble.
So chalk grassland is between 30 and 40 species per square metre, depending on quality. So really, really good habitat.
Yeah, really lovely. Hear the pheasants kicking off.
So we've got pheasants, we've got blackbirds, humans.
Human. So some of the big bat species, they can forage in more open areas. Like they like quite old pasture because they quite
Yeah.
like dung beetles and yellowfly and things like that. Whereas a lot of the bat species tend to be, for predator response, they obviously stick to like hedgerows or darker areas.
For safety.
For safety, yeah. And that's why they come out at night. So things that come out at night, it's a response to protecting themselves against being eaten by predators. So most of our bird species are obviously diurnal, and so they come out in the day, apart from the owls. And owls can eat bats and do eat bats. And I think it make up like, I think they say 5% of the owl diet. But
They're probably quite tricky to catch, aren't they?
yeah.
I think that pheasant's creeping up on us.
Just still, it becomes really still, doesn't it? And apart from
Apart from the pheasant, it's really, there's like a different sort of atmosphere, isn't it? It's like a stillness and a silence that you don't get during the day.
it is really
It's
good
magical.
for slowing your mind and just seeing the world in a different way. Definitely, and it's an adventure, isn't it? Because you just don't know
You never
what
know
you're
what's gonna come out. I mean, pheasants will make you jump, but they do that to me during the day as well.
Oh, they absolutely get you going.
It's like they do it on purpose.
Yeah.
They hide in a bush or a clump of grass, and then suddenly they'll fly up right in front of you, screeching.
Yeah, hedgehogs. We haven't spoken about hedgehogs.
Yeah.
Hedgehogs come out mostly at night as well. They like slugs to eat. So again, so slug pellets that go into slugs then go in straight into the hedgehogs. So so it's best not to use any chemicals of any sort, because obviously it does end up in the food chain.
So if people have got hedgehogs in their garden, there's a common misconception, isn't there, of what you can feed hedgehogs.
Yeah. It's best to feed them what they normally eat, like in nature. I don't think it's good to feed them milk and bread.
No.
Because cow's milk doesn't agree with a lot of things. So that
It's not natural for them, is it?
Yeah.
So obviously it's best if they eat the slugs that are in your garden.
Yeah, so encouraging slugs, and if you're growing your own vegetables, then you want
you want the hedgehogs.
You want the hedgehogs to come in and eat. Or also amphibians. Lots of amphibians eat slugs.
Yeah, having
So
newts
our
and
newts and our frogs and our toads.
Yeah.
And they're active at night. And
so that's a good reason to have a pond in your garden, isn't it? But
Yeah.
if you've got a pond, obviously you need a way for the hedgehogs to get out in case they fall in.
Yeah, exactly.
So always have a little bridge ladder coming out of your pond if you've got one in your garden.
And at the moment, I think the amphibians are starting to wake up, and they go to the ponds to breed.
Yeah.
So they're amphibians because they spend some of the time in the water and some of the time on land. But when they're adults, they go to the ponds just for breeding, so to lay the spawn or to lay their eggs with newts.
So they don't actually live in the pond all the year round, do they? Which you might think that they do. So Numa's got another good question. What sort of habitats do badgers like?
Oh yes. So badgers' favourite food are earthworms. Did you know that? But they're omnivorous, so they
they'll eat.
They eat a bit of everything. They eat nuts. They eat berries. They'll
fruit.
They'll eat meat. They'll eat. They'll scavenge carcasses. They'll eat bird eggs. They're very omnivorous. So, but they do like earthworms a lot. So any areas with a nice varied food source, and this kind of habitat, because they can dig for their earthworms.
So it's good to have a bit of an edge, isn't it? So a bit of sort of tree cover.
Yeah. So we saw earlier, we looked at a few bits of digging, which were, I think that was badger. So they were digging.
They'll dig up bumblebee nests, won't they?
They'll dig up
eat the larvae
nests.
out of those.
Yeah, they're very fastidious, aren't they? They'll eat everything.
Yeah, they'll just eat anything. Charlie's saying we had a bat drinking at the edge of our pond at dusk last summer. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's normal. Bats, everything needs to drink. Bats need to drink. Birds need to drink. And if it's obviously like last year was a really hot year.
Yeah.
So having a pond for things to drink from
keeping
as
that
well
topped
is really good. Most of their the liquid they need, that I think they do get from the insects, but obviously when it's really hot, then they will
good
need
to have that as a
have little
backup,
extra.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Caroline's saying toads are migrating at the moment, worth keeping an eye out if you're driving at night. Many getting squished on roads around here. Off when this finishes to toad patrol. Well done, Caroline.
Yeah.
We like a good toad patrol.
Yeah, so that's the thing with toads. They're very faithful to the same routes. So
Yeah.
they'll all come out en masse and they'll all go to their old ancestral ponds. And so if a car comes along, it can have major impact on a population because it can squash quite a lot at one go. So yeah, if you do know of any toad crossings, yeah, go out and patrol or register them. I think
There's one near Seven Sisters, isn't there?
Yeah, there's one down...
Is it Lullington?
Lullington?
Yeah, I want to say Lullington.
Litlington
Way.
Yeah.
Helen has a heron that visits the pond at dusk. Well, I bet you haven't got any fish then. If you had any goldfish before, you probably haven't now. But you don't want, if you've got a pond in the garden, it's really nice not to have any goldfish and stuff in it, because they'll predate all your native wildlife. So if you want a nice wildlife pond, don't put any fish in it.
Yeah, it's best to be fish free. But we were talking about ephemeral ponds, weren't we, before? And ephemeral ponds are these ponds that they dry out. Ephemeral means it comes for a bit and then goes away.
Yeah.
And so ephemeral ponds are really good for wildlife because usually they don't have fish because obviously
the fish wouldn't survive.
Yeah. So if you want a wildlife pond, don't add fish. And then the fish won't eat all your frog spawn or your F's.
Yeah. It's much more fun having frog spawn and toad spawn and newts and dragonflies. And if you have fish, you get none of that stuff.
Oh, it's getting really nice and dark now.
Yeah. Might have to put I've got a head torch. Last time we did this, we both had torches with us, but we both forgot we had torches with us, and walked around in complete darkness. So if someone can remind us when it gets dark that we've got torches, that would be really helpful.
The eyes do acclimatise, so actually it's quite good to sometimes try not to use. Oh, what was that?
I've got a red light as well, so if you're out walking and you're a bit nervous about the dark, you can have red light, which isn't as invasive on the wildlife.
I think they were using that on Autumn Watch. Did anyone watch Autumn Watch? That's they were trying to use all their night vision cameras were trying to be less impactful on the animals that they were trying to record.
Jonathan's got toad and newt patrol here in Somerset as well. Good on you. Good work.
Very good.
Eco warriors, that's what we like.
Yeah, exactly. All the
it's our fault after all. We've come along and built the roads and stuff in their way. So
yeah, it's roads can really sever animal routes, can't they? And fragment, and it's this fragmentation because animals use the landscape on a wider scale than we sometimes give them credit for. We obviously look, for example, like a bat roost. We think, oh, there's a bat roost there. We'll just protect the bat roost. But it's
everything around it.
The bat
isn't
roost is no good if they've got no food.
Yeah.
So and they need to get to their feeding areas and they need commuting routes and so and also they have different roosts for different times. So you might protect one roost, but it might not be good enough for the winter time or the summertime. So it's thinking a bit more on a landscape scale approach.
Bigger, better, joined up, isn't it? It's
exactly. The
Lawton principle.
Yeah. And considering all life stages and considering the complexities of the life stages. So just because certain species likes one food plant, is that enough for it to sustain it? Normally isn't, because they obviously need other things at other times.
And people forget about the larval stages, don't they? Because obviously you see butterflies and you can appreciate them, but for caterpillars you may not see quite as much.
Going down through the bramble.
She's dragging me into a bramble bush in the dark.
And it's a bit horse.
It's quite soggy underfoot. So you might get a rolling view of the next bit. Absolutely fine.
So the caterpillar stage and the more discrete egg stage and larval stages, we need to think about those as well. Give them as much thought as the butterflies or the moth or the adult stages. And that comes back to grasses and drinking and water. All birds and animals need water, so if anything, one really great thing to do is dig a wildlife garden pond.
Get a pond.
Yeah.
The trees look really good at night, don't they? Winter trees at night They just take on a whole new sort of shape and style about them.
Yeah. Just with the light going through them.
Yeah. It's a little bit magical.
It really is.
So the birds are going a bit quiet now. It's just a gentle tweeting.
Let's try and find that badger.
So yeah, we need to find the badger and find the owl.
And I think hopefully maybe a bat, but I don't know. It is a bit chilly, and we haven't really seen any insects on the wing. That's a sure sign. If you see insects, go out batting.
If it was a warmer night, we might have seen a bit more. Oh, I can see a question. Let me just stop for a sec. Why are species like bats and newts protected but other species not?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? So they say that some species, if you protect them, then you're going to be protecting the habitat and the things further down. Yeah, it's a bit of a pick and mix, isn't it? And
so sometimes they're like an indicator species, aren't they? And if they're doing well, then everything else is doing well.
So so like for example with the bats, if you've got bat species around, then it should indicate that there are insects, because obviously they need to feed, and that should then indicate that there's vegetation to support the insects. So like this biodiversity indicator species. So yeah, although it doesn't always
follow. And I guess the ones that are protected are the ones that are struggling the most, hopefully, in theory. They're the ones that are declining. So, unfortunately, they generally get protected after they've become vulnerable.
Yes, that's also very true. Yeah, it's. I mean, the law is a strange beast in itself, and I suppose it's like trying to make sense of a complex system in the best way that we can, by protecting certain things, which hopefully then means habitats and other areas are protected. But
tell you what, Numa's going to get a best interactor award on this. She's had so many good questions.
Yeah, really great. And I bet she's gone out for a few night adventures. I bet you all have. I can hear the Tawny. Can you hear the Tawny?
We should, in theory, we're heading towards it, I think.
Yeah,
so
it does sound like it.
If I don't...
We're taking the pony route.
Yeah, thanks for this, Kim. I mean, don't worry about finding a path.
We've become pony.
Oh, Jason's just said torches on. Thanks, Jason. I'm not quite ready for the torch, but I'm nearly there, I think.
Yeah.
But thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Tawny is getting louder, so we are definitely.
Yeah, we're definitely heading towards it. That's good that everyone's remembered to remind us about the torches. Because I had forgotten.
I forgot to put mine on my head.
Yeah, I'm a step ahead. At least I put it on this time. But we'll see how long we can go without.
Yeah, so your eyes do acclimatise. As soon as you put the light on, then it's quite hard to see again, isn't it? So it probably looks darker to you on the camera than it is to us.
It's getting spooky now, Helen says.
You what, sorry?
Helen says it's getting spooky now. It looks really dark on the screen. It's actually not quite as dark.
Okay, we're going down quite
as it is for you guys.
Steep step. Yeah, it is getting spooky. It's the witching hour. Also, I've had a treat of seeing, and this is quite a rare treat, of seeing glowworms. Glowworms are getting really
glowworms
rare,
are brilliant.
but they're amazing. So you see them glowing at night, and it's the female that glows, isn't it?
Yeah.
To attract the male.
I'm trying to remember the rhyme about...
Oh, listen, there's a bat. But I can't see it, I've heard it.
Apparently it's going to take 20 to 30 minutes for eyes to acclimatise.
Oh, really?
So, well, that probably we've done 20 to 30 minutes, so we should be all right. Yeah. Blair Witch Project. I don't know if that's a personal insult for us. Thank you, Julie. Lucy's asking, will the wildlife protection change now Brexit has... Oh, was that a bat?
Yeah, it does sound like...
Hang on, we're going to see if we can find a bat.
Oh, there. Woo, that's a pipistrelle. Did you see it? I mean, it was quick.
Really not.
It was really quick. It was right, it was quite
I'm just pointing the camera up at the sky now.
Oh, it's coming back. So it's basically not that far up, going along...
So it's going along the edge of the trees, probably.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's definitely a pipistrelle because of the size.
Oh, thanks, Catherine. I wish I was a glowworm. A glowworm's never glum.
Oh,
how does it go from there?
Oh, look at that.
Because how can you be sad when the light shines out your bum or something? That was close.
So hopefully you can see it's basically
Heard
going up and down. So we've come into more the tree area where it's more sheltered, and obviously there must be some insects around because the pipistrelle is having a little feed up, going up and down, patrolling up and down.
So hopefully, it sounds like everyone can hear that.
I'll hold
pipistrelle.
I'll hold the...
We're on channel 45, frequency 45.
45, yeah. Common pip, 45 pip.
So as it gets louder, in theory, it's nearer us, so keep your eyes peeled, folks. I'm just staring up at the sky.
It's actually not that high up. It's probably just at the sort of
mid-range.
Mid-range, yeah. And he's definitely coming up and... Oh, I say he. She.
Cool, there's a bat. Wow. Yay. It's working. People can hear the bat.
Can you hear the bat?
And they can see it as well.
Oh, that's really
They've
good.
got better eyesight than me, but I've got my reading glasses on so that I can read your questions. There we go. I shall prop them on my nose like a little old lady.
Oh, is he going to...
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, bats, for coming out for us.
Look at that. Oh, we go, coming back. Whee!
We've got the magic.
Yeah, so you see, you never know what you might find.
So Helen's asking how Bat Detector, how does it work?
Ah, right.
Which we did talk about.
We did talk
earlier,
about.
but Helen wasn't here.
So bats echolocate because they obviously their response to not being eaten by predators is to come out at night. They can see though; they're not blind. So that old adage of being as blind as a bat is not true. I mean, their sight it's a bit like us. We can't see at night, so we use torches. So instead of...
Well, some of us,
yes. So instead of a torch, they use a way of... They transmit sound, and then the sound bounces off objects and comes back, and they listen, and that gives them a picture. It's like a sound picture of the landscape, where noises change, and obviously noises bounce off things. They know that there's a tree or something in the way. But obviously they do it so quickly. And the detector basically changes the inaudible frequency that we can't normally hear into an audible frequency, so that we can hear it. And different bats...
And they all sound different, don't they?
Yeah, and they all echolocate at different frequencies. And I don't know if you see a sonogram, so that's like basically putting their calls into like a pictorial version. You can see that different bats have different shapes of sonogram as well. Some are called frequency modulated and some are constant frequency. So, so obviously, depending on, again, it's all to do with morphology, what they eat, where they hunt, when they come out.
So they can tell, can't they, what they're echolocating? They can tell what it is.
Yeah.
Like the size of it. And
how close it is.
Whether it's worth eating, which is amazing.
And you can hear on the detector, you can hear the feeding buzzers. So when they're honing in on an insect, and when they get to it and they eat it, you can hear this sort of slurp where they sort of scoop it up in their mouth. It's like that, exactly like
nice.
But yeah, so some of our bats. So for example, the long-eared bat is called the whispering bat, and long-eareds are one of my favourites because they've just got these beautiful jester-like ears.
Yeah,
and the ears are there because they've evolved them so that they can whisper in they're woodland species, and they can whisper, and so the things that they want to eat can't hear them, and they can pick spiders off spider webs.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's like.
But the moths have evolved as well, so there's this race between the moths being able to hear the bats calling for them, and then the bats trying to get quieter so that they can sneak up on them. So there's this, obviously, there's
in constant competition.
Yeah,
Jason's asking, will torches distract them? They probably will distract to a certain extent, but
Yes, yeah.
so we're going to try not to put our torches on if we can help it. But
And certain species are more light sensitive, like we said earlier, like some of our real woodland specialists that are really rare. They really can't take light because it really interrupts how they feed, like the gleaning.
I would say we're trying to sneak around, but we're so loud that I don't think we're very sneaky. But we won't put our torches on unless we have to.
Should we just see if the bat comes? Oh, we can carry on because he's coming up and down this avenue, isn't he?
I think we're on his route.
And so the dung is probably good for beetles. So that's good food source.
That's horse poo on the ground for those who can't.
Dung.
Yeah, or dung if you're posh. Ecologists call it dung.
Or yeah, I'm really happy that we saw.
Yeah, that's really good that we saw. Everyone's really chuffed that they could see it and hear it.
And you can hear the owl as well, still calling.
That's amazing that you could actually see it on the screen on Facebook because it was quite small, wasn't it?
Yeah, pictures are small.
So good work.
And fast, very fast.
I think that's down to an excellent camera woman.
And tour guide.
And tour guide. Yeah, good teamwork. Or pure fluke, as some might call it. So come on, owl, where are you? We can hear you.
So when we pop out here, I have seen the badger around here before, so I'm really hoping.
Well, that would be really good if you could just pop out as we get here.
That'd be a hat trick, wouldn't that be a hat trick?
I think we might be pushing our luck there. It was a black streak across the screen.
Oh, was that the bat?
The bat. Could you stop talking? Yeah, sorry, we do talk. They won't be able to hear the...
Okay.
Thank you. So we're now out on the Bo Peep Road, for those of you who know the area. Doesn't look like you can actually see much. It's still quite... It's not completely dark for us, but it looks completely dark on the screen for you guys. So Jan has a lot of trouble staying quiet. That's true, John. Thank you.
Yeah, it is just lovely and silent. It just quietens down, apart from when me and you pipe up.
There's a fine line between informative and wittering, and we haven't quite got the hang of it yet.
I quite like the word wittering. Oh, there's a car coming.
Yep. So yeah, that's someone just coming down from Bo Peep car park. Like I say, it's easy to get to this spot where we are, and lots of footpaths and
lots of cycling routes. Yeah, try and travel by sustainable green transport. And then you've got more chance of seeing things as well if you're on your feet or on your bike.
It's a more pleasant experience all round.
Yeah. And good for the mind and the soul and the body. Yeah, so they do say, don't they, that to sort of quieten down our minds, because obviously we've got so much technology wearing at us from every angle. It's really good to just
take a break.
Yeah, and have a walk. And
Sue's asked if we can put up a map. Yes, Sue, we can put a map up that Kim did for me to arrange where to meet. It's a very detailed map of blue arrows.
You can see my really good computer skills.
So we'll put that up, and then tomorrow I can put up a bit more detailed if anyone needs it. But yeah, so we're just walking around the footpaths and rideways near Bo Peep Farmhouse and Bo Peep car park.
And Alceston, yeah.
So we're near Alceston, near the barley mow.
Yeah, the Barley Mow. It's a good pub when it's open again.
Yeah, in normal times.
Yeah. Got a good beer garden. Big beer garden.
Good for bats.
Good for bats, yeah. And on the footpath.
Oh,
And they're improving the cycle path too, aren't they?
There's some bright lights over there.
Yeah.
Is that a tractor?
I think that's a tractor. Yeah, it's getting really nice and dark now. And this is where I've definitely seen badgers foraging around. Oh, there's the owl.
I can hear the owl again. I think it's moved. It sounds further away.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So, I'm really pleased about the bat.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? We were worrying there for a sec that there was going to be nothing, but the bats have saved us.
The pipistrelle.
The steering
Good old
mechanism has
opportunistic
lost
feeder.
control on here. Let me just try and straighten everybody up. It's because I went over a bump.
I wonder if they can still see us. Can you still see us?
Can anyone see us, or is it just dark? Get home, it's gone dark. I don't think anyone can see us anymore. I'll try and get a bit more sky. Oh, there's the owl.
Just listen.
So we'll be
Keep
quiet.
listening
We'll be
to-
quiet for a sec and let you hear, because you can't see us anymore. Nice.
It's lovely. I think that's probably us signing out, isn't it?
So Leslie's saying it's pitch dark, but we can hear the owls. So yeah, we'll stay and listen to the owl for a bit, and then I guess we'll sign off because you can't see us. Oh, it's getting closer. You can hear the answer over there.
Yeah. Oh, it's just
It
magical.
sounds like there's maybe 3,
Yeah, it does sound like there's 3. There sounds like one really far away.
Yeah.
One not so far away, and one
and then
really
one
close.
behind us.
Yeah. It's magical. It sends shivers down my spine.
Everyone's saying thank you, ladies. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, and listening.
Sorry if we were whittering on. We get carried away. But it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and hopefully it's encouraged you, if you don't already, go out and explore the night skies and the nocturnal animals.
So for those of you who weren't here earlier, it's Tawny Owls we can hear. So Tawny Owls do the twit-twoo, the classic owl noise. And it'll be one owl calling to another. So one does the twit noise and one does the twoo noise. It's generally the male starting it and the female answering, I think.
Yeah, so they're establishing and telling other owls of their territory.
Tell Kim thanks from Norway.
Ah! Wow, Lucy! That's my friend Lucy.
Leslie saying thanks, chatty women. Lovely virtual walk.
Ah, very nice.
Thank you from Chris, Jack and Louis.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
Numa. Ah, I know who Numa is now.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Really enjoyed it. And hopefully get out
Yeah.
in the night time.
Go and explore the dark.
With no lights.
We didn't put our torches on.
Dark skies.
It's the other way round, someone's telling me. Oh, that's all right then. So, yeah, I wondered if it was the girl starting it and the...
Okay. I always thought the male was
I always forget which way round it is.
yeah.
But it's I think it's the female that says twit, isn't it? So that's usually the start.
Oh, yes.
She's calling him a twit. That's how I try and remember it, but sometimes I forget that that's how I remember it. Thanks, John. See you soon. John's one of our volunteers. Thanks for watching, John.
Yeah, there's definitely 3
Yeah,
or so, or more.
there's at least 3, isn't there? Well, I can just stand here till our battery dies.
Just listening. Oh. That's my terrible noise.
John's put, women always start the talking. It's the bloke telling her to shut up. Thanks. Thanks, John.
Charming.
Go back to manners school, please. How dare you?
Yeah, that's why we're calling you a twit.
Yeah. Right, you're fired. Cool.
So cool.
If it could just land on a branch above our heads, that would be quite handy.
I was doing a
could
bat survey actually last probably August time, and there were a couple of little young fledgling tawny owls just hopping around like in the tree near me, just obviously not being that comfortable in flying around and just calling constantly to mum for reassurance. It was
That's the sort of day you get no work done.
yeah. Just beautiful. They're so beautiful. And obviously they've got the really good eyesight at night, haven't they? Those big round eyes to let a lot of...
That's such a cool noise. So is anyone on here, is that the first time you've ever heard a tawny owl? That would be amazing if we've just got you your first tawny owl.
It's just beautiful.
It's lovely, isn't it? Marie heard a tawny owl last night.
Oh, really?
That's good.
Very nice. There's a really good thing called iRecord where you can log your record sightings, and it all goes to help, citizens. It all goes towards recording nature, where it is and where it isn't.
Yeah, that's a good shout actually. If people are app savvy or website savvy, iRecord is great, and not just rare species, everything you see, you can record everything in your garden, and that goes onto a national database, and every species you record then is preserved on that database and can help monitor populations.
Yeah.
So that would be really good. Thanks, Marie. Marie's going to go and check that out.
Yes, really good.
So yeah, now that apps now are brilliant, aren't they? And they've made it into an app now. So wherever you are, if you've got your phone, you just open it up and it will work out where you are, get a good reference, and you can record what you've seen. And even if you're not sure what it is, you can say that you're not sure.
Yeah, and you can get if you get a photograph, you can obviously put it in, and all of the records get verified by the county recorders. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry if you think, I don't know, I'll put Stegosaurus, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Someone will come and check that.
Yeah.
You haven't accidentally put that there's a Stegosaurus in Firle.
Yeah, and then it goes in, like you say, it goes into the national database and helps just inform everything, really.
Cool. Well, I think we'll leave you there. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for joining us.
Brilliant.
And I'll put a map up. Okay.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.